Before we begin, we do have a third code for this to give away, so let us know down in the comments what your favourite Bomberman game is. Hi everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp and to a video where we have been sponsored by Konami.
Yeah, they've asked us to have a look at their new Bomberman game, Super Bomberman R2, and as big fans of the Bomberman series, going way back to, well, Super Nintendo for me.
Yeah, same.
Then, yeah, we were more than happy to do so.
So what do you need to know about Super Bomberman R2? Well, let's find out.
I found it. The next Ellenite.
So as far as the storyline goes, there is a threat from a black moon and the 8 bros set about to try and find out what it is and to stop it.
Yeah, so there is a dedicated story mode, as there was in the first Super Bomberman R, although this time, whereas in that game, it was very much a selection of separate puzzles with a storyline shown through cutscenes. This time they do seem to have made it flow a bit more, and it's also a bit more open world, isn't it?
Yeah, so you've got free reign in terms of which of the areas you move between. You can kind of see an exit in the map in the corner and you can head towards that, but you're trying to collect something, aren't you, along the way?
Yeah, so there are creatures named Elons that you need to collect, you need to rescue them, and doing so will allow you to move further through the levels, unlocking gates to reach new areas.
Now you can only hold 5 of these at a time, and any more that you get will be sent back to base.
Yeah, we'll touch more on the base in a moment because that's quite a big part of not just the story mode but the new features of this particular game.
You look so cute and squishable. That's it. How about I call you Squishy?
But as you move about the segments in the levels, you can blow up creatures as you usually would, destroy the blocks as you look for the Elons, and what will happen is you'll gain XP as you do this, and this will allow you to level up, and you'll gain the more traditional Bomberman power-ups, things such as a bigger blast radius, more bombs, or character speed by leveling up.
Now if you're used to the more traditional 4-way fixed movement, this is slightly different, isn't it, Glenn?
It is in this story mode segment, yes. You'll still see that later on in the game, but in terms of these areas, you can move in 8 directions. Let's look at the base itself now then. So as Mark mentioned, at certain points you can return to your base, and this ties in to the new castle mode that's in this particular game.
Yeah, so castle mode essentially is an attack and defense mode. One team trying to defend the castle, which needs to be unlocked with keys, and the other trying to attack. Now the defensive team do seem to have a slight advantage in terms of strength. You have certain abilities that you can do. As you can see here, I'm knocking the characters out of the screen, but obviously with respawns there are constant attacks to deal with.
Yeah, exactly that. Attacks strength is in numbers. They have many players, and you can play this particular mode online. And as Mark said, you need to find the keys and try to unlock the castle in order to win. In terms of the story mode though, the way that this ties into that is that you can actually create your own castle level using the level editor, and you will gain new pieces or unlock a higher threshold of how many pieces you can lay by your progress in story mode.
Yeah, we customised the stage briefly and obviously tried to make it symmetrical, very important. But these are actually tied to that castle mode, so you're making castle mode stages, aren't you?
You are, and when you play the online mode and you see the actual levels, obviously it gives you a nice indication of how yours could look and what makes for a successful level, and you can try and then replicate this or do your best to make something that works just as well in this particular mode.
So that story mode is fully voice acted and animated, which I believe the previous game was as well. And there are a number of different worlds, aren't there, that you can visit?
There are a few different worlds to visit, absolutely right. So away from story mode then, you also have the more traditional modes, both online and off. So you have your battle mode, where you can play with up to 8 players, I believe it is, offline.
And there's a few new additions to this as well, such as a bunny that you can ride around on, and I believe that can jump as well. And it also almost acts as an extra life, because if you take a hit, then you'll just hop off the bunny. No pun intended, Glenn.
It's classic Bomberman. Yeah. You know, this is where it's at if you want that old school action. It plays very well to this day. I mean, obviously I played Super Bomberman R, so I've played a Bomberman game in the last, 5 years, say. But it's amazing just how frantic and how much fun this still is. You know, it really does hold up so well.
Yeah, it is that pure just enjoyment, isn't it? Very simple to pick up and play. Then it gets really competitive. One of you wins and you're like, I don't mind losing. And then the next thing you know, you're in a head-to-head and you get the draw. It's like, yeah, it's really enjoyable, isn't it?
Absolutely. It has a host of customization options in terms of the rules for each match. Stage sizes will change. You have your kind of old school, I think it's literally called old school stage, and a host of others as well. And this can be played offline, as I mentioned, but also online as well, of course. So as well as that classic and standard battle mode, you also have a few other battle mode types, being Grand Prix, which is more team-based, and you also have Battle 64, which is a survival mode for up to 64 players, all competing to be the last one standing.
So all of these seem to tie into the same pool, whereas you gain your currency and you can spend that in the shop area to upgrade different things, mainly cosmetics, right?
Yeah, so you can unlock new costumes, of course, for your Bomber characters, but you can also unlock new characters themselves, some of which are tied into other Konami series. So you have Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, for example.
So many of you will be all in for the online multiplayer and how that works. Essentially, you've got a few options here. As with some very popular online games, you have ranked mode, or graded mode as I believe it's called here. And you also have just being able to play without having to worry about that.
Yep, you have private modes as well. You can play online with the more standard rules, or you can play the castle mode, of course, and each one will have certain times of the day where they are unlocked, allowing you obviously to play them. We played castle mode online to give that a try and were victorious, by the way, so that's always nice. But yeah, again, it's just, this game is so much fun in multiplayer, isn't it?
It really is. Now, we're not quite sure whether or not you have bots here when you're trying to play online and there aren't enough players. If they're not bots, then I feel a bit sorry for these players here.
Yeah, exactly right. If you're playing offline, you can populate with bots if you don't have enough, obviously, to fill the full rota. So yeah, we're just not 100% sure if that applies to online too.
There's also crossplay here. I saw an option for that to be toggled on and off, and I believe the ranked matches are crossplay by default, so you will be playing against other systems. But I do think it would be really nice to take your own stages online and just see how they do, you know?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely right. Let's move on to the visuals and audio now then. So in terms of character design, you have the classic Bomberman characters, the way they've looked for many a year now. The animated cutscenes within story mode all look nice and crisp. The voice acting is very cheery and chipper. Each character has a clear personality.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see all those different costumes from the franchises, isn't it? There's like the Metal Gear Solid one, and you said one from Silent Hill.
Silent Hill 2, yeah, it's nice. Just nice little throwbacks to other franchises.
These little guys spawned from this device.
What were those things back there anyway? They took off with the other gem.
Maybe these gems are special.
In terms of the stages themselves, again, you have the nice bright colour palettes that you'd expect in a Bomberman game, and there's some nice variety in terms of the story mode and the different planets that you'll visit.
As far as performance, I think we're looking at 30 FPS across the board generally. Load times are a little longer than I'd like to see, but they're not a problem. The game will set you back £44.99 here in the UK, and the other regional prices can be seen on the screen.
Yep, there is a more favourable exchange rate for some countries, it must be said, but for this price you are getting the classic Bomberman action, and I do like, I must say, the fact that they have changed up story mode to something that feels quite cohesive as opposed to the one in the first game, which I did enjoy and I did finish, but I was expecting more of the same, and it's nice to see they've changed it up.
Yeah, as far as value and things like that, I mean, it's essentially for as long as you enjoy Bomberman, which I should imagine could be forever.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is one of the ultimate party games.
Yeah.
I mean, I played this all the way through university.
Nice.
You know, and so if you have that punch-on for Bomberman, you're gonna get countless hours out of this.
And I will say, if also you dislike things like the level editor, I could easily spend hours and hours just doing that.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because you would spend a lot of time in there, whereas I wouldn't, but there are other aspects of the game that I would probably spend more time on. Yeah. So there is a nice balance across the board.
Other things to note are that it takes 4.8 gigs to download, and I believe there definitely will be a physical of this one as well.
Absolutely. So there you have it, that's Super Bomberman R2. Please do let us know which your favourite Bomberman game is from the years. I think I'd have to go with Super Bomberman being mine, using the old multi-tap playing in 4-player mode was great back in the day. Another big thank you to Konami, of course, for sponsoring this video.
Yeah, in the week where we got 100 million views, that's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah, really good. And thank you to anyone and everyone that's ever watched a minute of our content. It's very much appreciated.
As I said at the start, we do have a third code for this, so we might as well give that to one of you guys. Just let us know, as Glenn said in the comments, what's your favourite Bomberman game? And just a thanks for watching.
If you are looking to pick this up digitally, don't forget you can get your eShop credit on our website, SwitchUp.gg. Doing so will earn you SwitchUp tokens, which will get you 5% of your purchase price back as cashback. And there's also an extra 5% available if you use the code SwitchUp.
If you want to buy physically, we have a PlayAsia code down there as well. Thanks so much for watching, to our Patreons and members, and to all of you that enjoy the content. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch Up. Cheers, guys. See ya!